The champagne goes flat while I'm talking. Tiny bubbles giving up their fight to rise, settling into expensive stillness while I destroy 25 years of marriage between the appetizer and the main course. The other diners at Chez Laurent continue their conversations, unaware that Table 7 is hosting an execution. "I don't understand," Grant says for the third time, his fork suspended halfway to his mouth. The anniversary special, duck confit he'd ordered for both of us, congeals on his plate. "You're saying this happened when?" 16 years ago, when Lily was 9. He sets the fork down with the kind of precision that means he's trying not to throw it. Around us, the restaurant hums with celebration, other couples toasting their love while I methodically burn ours to the ground. 16 years, he repeats. "You've kept this from me for 16 years. "Yes." "And you're telling me now because Dr. Reeves said secrets are cancer. Because my guilt has metastasized. Because I turned 50 last month and realized I've been 3 different women for over a decade. The one Grant married, the one who had the affair, and the one who's been pretending that woman doesn't exist." "Because you deserve to know," I say instead. "Because I can't pretend anymore." He laughs, short and bitter. "Our 25th anniversary, you couldn't have picked therapy? A Tuesday? Any day that wasn't supposed to be about celebrating us?" No, it had to be tonight. In public, where he couldn't rage, where I couldn't run. Where the weight of social expectation would force us both to sit through this conversation like civilized people while I confessed to being anything but. "Tell me again," he says, voice dropping to that dangerous quiet I've only heard twice before. When his father died. When Lily wrecked the car. "Tell me exactly what you did." So I do. Again. The words come easier the second time, rehearsed, rotting, finally spoken aloud. It started with the Oakwood Elementary fundraiser. I was PTA president, the kind of mother who ran bake sales and organized teacher appreciation weeks and made sure every child had Valentines even if their parents forgot. Grant traveled for work, pharmaceutical sales, gone Monday through Thursday most weeks. I was lonely but functioning. A good mother, a decent wife, a woman who had her life together. Then they hired Ms. Rodriguez, Elena Rodriguez, 26, fresh from her teaching certification, assigned to Lily's 4th grade class. She had that kind of beauty that made other mothers whisper, too pretty to be a teacher, too young to be trusted. But their children loved her, came home chattering about Ms. R's stories and games, and the way she made learning feel like magic. Lily was obsessed, drew pictures for her, wrote stories about heroic teachers who looked suspiciously like Elena, begged me to volunteer for every class party so she could show off her mom to her favorite teacher. "She's amazing, Mom," Lily would gush. "She's the best teacher in the whole world." I'd smile and agree, ignoring the flutter in my stomach when Elena thanked me for the help. Told myself it was admiration, respect for a woman who could hold 29-year-olds' attention for 7 hours a day. The first time we were alone was October. Parent-teacher conferences running late, the school emptying out. I was last on her schedule, a perk of being PTA president. We discussed Lily's progress, her reading level, her tendency to daydream. Normal things. Safe things. "She's lucky to have you," Elena said as I gathered my things. "Not all parents are so involved. Her father travels, I try to compensate. Still, Lily adores you, talks about you constantly. My mom this, my mom that, it's sweet." "She talks about you too," I admitted. "You're her hero." Elena blushed, actually blushed. "I just try to make learning fun. You do more than that. You make her feel seen. That's a gift." We looked at each other a moment too long. The empty classroom suddenly felt smaller, the air between us charged with something I didn't want to name. "I should go," I said. "Yes," she agreed, not moving. I left. Drove home, made dinner, helped Lily with homework, Didn't think about the way Elena's eyes had held mine. Didn't think about it when Grant called from Dallas. Didn't think about it when I couldn't sleep. I thought about it constantly. The fundraiser was my idea. Casino night, parents only, hosted at the country club. I threw myself into planning, spreadsheets and committees and donation requests, anything to stay busy, to avoid examining why I'd chosen a dress that showed too much, why I'd spent an hour on my hair. "You look beautiful," Grant had said before leaving for another trip. "Knock 'em dead tonight." Elena wore red, a cocktail dress that probably cost half her teaching salary but looked worth every penny. She seemed nervous, out of place among the suburban parents with their careful small talk and calculated generosity. "You clean up nice," I said, handing her a glass of wine. "PTA president's orders were cocktail attire," she replied. "I follow directions well." "Good to know." We were both circling a flame, daring the other to get closer. Every interaction that night, discussing auction items, laughing at the principal's terrible poker face, dancing to the hired DJ's questionable playlist, felt like foreplay. When she won the teacher's raffle, a weekend at a local spa I'd donated, I was the one who handed her the certificate. Our fingers brushed, the room tilted. "Congratulations," I managed. "Thank you," she said, not letting go immediately. "For everything?" Grant called during the silent auction. "How's it going? Making money for those kids?" "It's fine," I said, watching Elena help another teacher with her bid sheet. "Good turnout." "That's my girl, the supermom." Supermom. If only he knew what his supermom was thinking, what she was wanting, what she was about to do. It happened in the coat room. Cliché, I know. But Elena had spilled wine on her dress, and I'd offered to help clean it up. We stood too close in that tiny space, me dabbing at the stain with a wet napkin, her breathing uneven. "Diana," she whispered. "Don't," I said, still cleaning the dress. "We can't." "I know, but knowledge and action are different things." When she kissed me, I kissed back. When she pressed me against the coat rack, I pulled her closer. 9 years of marriage evaporated in the time it took to destroy everything I thought I knew about myself. "Oh my God," I gasped when we broke apart. "Oh my God." "I'm sorry," Elena started, but I was already fleeing. Grabbed my purse, made excuses to the committee, drove home in a panic. Sat in my driveway for an hour, trying to understand what had just happened. I wasn't gay. Couldn't be. I loved Grant. We had a daughter, a mortgage, a normal suburban life that didn't include kissing women in coat rooms at school fundraisers. It was a mistake, a moment of insanity. Too much wine and loneliness and the intoxication of being wanted by someone who looked at me like I was more than somebody's mother and somebody's wife. I avoided the school for a week, sent neighbors to pick up Lily, claimed stomach flu. Grant, home for once, played nurse, bringing me soup, rubbing my back, being the good husband he'd always been. "You work too hard," he said. "All these committees and fundraisers, maybe you should step back." "Maybe," I agreed, knowing I wouldn't. Knowing I'd have to face Elena eventually. Knowing I'd have to look her in the eye and pretend nothing had changed when everything had. The pretending lasted exactly 2 days. "We need to talk," Elena said, catching me in the parking lot after drop-off. "There's nothing to talk about." "Diana, please, I can't. I don't know how to do this. Be around you. Teach your daughter. Act like I didn't." "Then don't," I snapped. "Transfer. Quit. I don't care. Just stay away from me." Her face crumpled. "Is that really what you want?" No. What I wanted was to kiss her again. What I wanted was to understand why her touch had set me on fire in ways Grant's hadn't for years. What I wanted was impossible. "Yes," I lied. "She transferred at winter break. 3rd grade, different wing of the building." Lily was devastated. "Why did Ms. R leave?" she wailed. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, sweetheart. Sometimes teachers just need a change." "But she didn't even say goodbye." Neither did I. Not really. Just watched her pack up her classroom while my daughter was at art, memorizing the way she moved, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating. She looked up once, caught me staring. The pain in her eyes matched mine. "I'm sorry," I mouthed. She nodded, went back to packing. I never spoke to her again. Grant pauses in his destruction of the breadbasket. We've moved past the appetizer course, though neither of us ate. The waiter, sensing disaster, gives us wide berth. "That's it?" Grant asks. "You kissed her once and she transferred?" This is the moment. I could lie, minimize, let him think it was just one kiss, one mistake, one brief moment of insanity. But I'm done lying, done carrying this alone. "No," I say quietly, "that's not it." His jaw tightens. "Continue." March. 4 months after the fundraiser. I ran into her at a teachers' conference in Columbus. Not planned. I'd gone for PTA leadership training. She was there for continuing education credits. Different hotels, different sessions, but the same coffee shop on Tuesday morning. "Diana." She stood by my table, holding her cup like a shield. "I can switch sessions if this is—" "Sit down," I heard myself say. She sat. We talked. Carefully at first. Her new class, Lily's adjustment, anything but what hung between us. Then less carefully. Then not careful at all. "I think about you," she admitted. "Every day." "Elena, I know it's wrong. You're married, you're straight. It was just a moment." "Yes," I agreed. "Just a moment." A moment that followed me to her hotel room that night. A moment that lasted until dawn. A moment that changed everything. I'll spare Grant the details. He doesn't need to know how she touched me, how I came apart in ways I didn't know existed, how I cried afterward, not from guilt, but from the recognition of what I'd been missing, what I'd never known to miss. "I have to go back," I said against her shoulder, "to my life, my family." "I know. This can't happen again." "I know." It happened again, and again. Every conference, every training, every excuse I could find to be in Columbus or Cleveland, or anywhere Elena could meet me. 3 months of hotel rooms and lies and the kind of hunger that consumes everything in its path. "Leave him," she said in May, "our last time. We could be happy. I have a daughter. Who deserves a mother who's actually happy?" "I am happy," I lied. "No, you're safe. There's a difference." She was right. But safe was what Lily needed. Safe was what Grant deserved. Safe was what I'd chosen when I'd said I do 12 years earlier. "I can't," I said. "I'm sorry, but I can't." She left Ohio that summer, took a job in Oregon. Lily cried when I said her teacher moved west. I cried later over a postcard I never mailed. Sent one letter I burned without reading. Disappeared from our lives like she'd never existed. Except she had. In the way I couldn't let Grant touch me for months. In the way I'd catch myself looking at women differently. In the way I'd wake up some nights, her name on my lips, my body remembering what my mind tried to forget. "You had an affair," Grant says flatly. "With our daughter's teacher. With a woman." "Yes." "For how long?" "About 6 months. The tension started in October. The affair itself was from March to May." "And then?" "And then nothing. She left. I stayed. We moved to Westchester that fall, remember? Fresh start." "Fresh start?" He laughs, hollow. "I thought that was for my promotion." "It was, partly. But mostly to run from your lesbian lover." "Don't—" "What? Don't call it what it was? Fine. Your affair. Your betrayal. Your—" He stops, hand shaking as he reaches for his water. 16 years, Diana. 16 years of lying to my face. I never lied. You never asked. I never asked if you were fucking our daughter's teacher because that's not something that occurs to normal husbands." A few heads turn. He lowers his voice, but the damage is done. "We're that couple now. The ones having a public breakdown over anniversary duck." "Why now?" he asks again. Why tonight? Why tell me at all? The truth is complicated. Dr. Reeves and her talk about authentic living. The breast cancer scare last year that made me examine what I'd die regretting. Lily getting engaged last month, her whole life ahead of her, and me wondering if I'd ever been that young and hopeful. But mostly it's the dreams. Elena's face, 16 years older, but still beautiful. Still looking at me like I'm more than the sum of my roles. I wake up reaching for someone who isn't there, hasn't been there for over a decade. Grant deserves better than a wife who's haunted by ghosts of women she shouldn't have loved. Because I'm tired, I tell him. Tired of pretending. Tired of lying next to you knowing I've been someone else. Tired of... Of what? Our life? Our marriage? Me? No, tired of myself. Of the person I became to keep this secret. And you thought destroying our anniversary was the solution? I thought you deserved honesty. 16 years too late. Yes, I agree. 16 years too late. The entrees arrive. We stare at them like foreign objects. 25 years of anniversaries, silver jewelry and weekend getaways and restaurant reservations made months in advance. This was supposed to be our renewal year. Vow renewals in Hawaii. Maybe that cruise we'd always talked about. Instead, I'm watching my husband process that his wife had an affair with a woman before same-sex marriage was even legal in Ohio, that every moment since has been built on a foundation of lies. Do you still think about her? He asks quietly. The honest answer would end us, but I'm done with anything else. Yes. He nods like he expected it. Are you gay? I don't know. You don't know? After 16 years, you don't know? I know I loved her. I know I love you. I know those two truths don't fit together neatly. But you loved her differently. Not a question. He knows. Maybe he's always known, the way spouses sense changes they can't name. The way I pulled back just enough to seem present while being utterly absent. Yes, I admit. I loved her differently. Better? Different. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. He signals for the check. We've barely touched the food. This meal that costs more than Elena probably made in a day teaching fourth graders to read. I need to think, he says, signing the receipt without looking at the total. I'm going to Rob's tonight. His brother. Who'll tell his wife? Who'll tell everyone? By tomorrow, our carefully constructed life will be rubble. Grant? No. You don't get to drop this bomb and then manage my reaction. You had 16 years to think. Now it's my turn. He's right. I follow him to the parking lot in silence. We drove separately. His idea, planning to leave my car and share a romantic ride home. The irony burns. For what it's worth, I say at his car, I'm sorry. For the affair, or for telling me? Both. Neither. I'm sorry for being weak, for being selfish, for building a life on a lie. But I'm not sorry for loving Elena. Can't be. That would be like being sorry for breathing. For hurting you, I say instead. He looks at me, really looks at me, for the first time since I started talking. I don't know you, he says wonderingly. 25 years, and I have no idea who you are. Then he drives away, leaving me in the parking lot of the restaurant where we got engaged 26 years ago. Full circle, except I'm not the woman he proposed to. Haven't been for 16 years. I sit in my car and check my phone. 3 texts from Lily about wedding venues. A reminder about tomorrow's partners meeting at the firm. Normal life, waiting for me to slip back into it like a coat that's never quite fit right. Instead, I open Facebook. Search for a name I haven't typed in over a decade. Elena Rodriguez Mills. Married, according to her profile. 2 kids, still teaching somewhere in Portland. Happy from the photos. The life she wanted, just not with me. I close the app. She made her choice. I made mine. We chose safety and normalcy and lives that made sense to everyone but ourselves. Noble choices. Proper choices. Choices that left me confessing to my husband on our anniversary because the weight of pretending finally broke me. The house is silent when I get home. The kind of quiet that has weight. Grant's suitcase is gone from the closet. His toiletries missing from the bathroom. 25 years dismantled in the time it took me to drive home. I pour wine, sit in our living room, look at photos of the life we built, vacations and holidays and Lily's graduation. A good life, a real life, just not an honest one. My phone rings. Lily. Hey Mom, Dad just called. Said he's helping Uncle Rob with something on your anniversary. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, sweetheart. Are you sure? He sounded weird. Just tired. Big day at work. Another lie, but this one's for her, not me. She doesn't need to know yet that her parents' marriage was built on sand, that her mother spent 6 months of her 4th grade year in love with her teacher, that everything she believes about love and commitment and family is about to shift. Okay, hey, would you and Dad want to come look at the Riverside venue on Saturday? Tom thinks it's perfect. We'll see. Let me talk to your father. Thanks, Mom. Love you. Love you too. She hangs up. I sit in the dark, not bothering with lights. Tomorrow, Grant will decide what comes next. Divorce, probably. Counseling, possibly. Forgiveness, doubtfully. I should regret telling him. Should have taken it to my grave like Dr. Reeves suggested before I insisted on this terrible honesty. Should have protected him from the truth that serves no purpose except to ease my guilt. But I'm done with should. Done being the woman who chose safety over truth. Done pretending that what happened with Elena was a mistake instead of the most honest 6 months of my life. Grant will leave me. Lily will struggle to understand. Friends will choose sides. I'll become the woman who destroyed her marriage for an affair that ended 16 years ago. The cautionary tale whispered about at PTA meetings and book clubs. Let them whisper. At least it'll be true. I finish my wine and go to bed. Our bed. Soon to be my bed. The sheets still smell like Grant's cologne from this morning when he kissed me goodbye, excited about our anniversary dinner. I told him to wear the blue one. Said it was my favorite. Said it like a wife who meant it. 25 years, he'd said. Here's to 25 more. I'd smiled and agreed, already knowing I'd burn it all down before dessert. Already tired of being the woman who could lie so easily to the man who loved her. He deserved the truth. Deserved to know who he'd been sleeping beside all these years. Deserved the chance to find someone who could love him wholly, not in carefully portioned amounts that left room for ghosts. And I deserve whatever comes next. The consequences of confessing on our anniversary, of all days. The cruelty of that timing isn't lost on me, but perhaps it's fitting. We began with truth, young love, pure intentions, promises we meant to keep. We should end with truth too, even if it comes wrapped in betrayal and belated honesty. The champagne went flat while I was talking. Our marriage went flat 16 years ago. The only difference is I finally admitted it, on a night meant for celebration, in a restaurant full of people who had no idea they were witnessing an execution. Tomorrow begins the rest of my life, the life where everyone knows what I did, where I'm no longer the respectable lawyer's wife, but the woman who had an affair with her daughter's teacher, where honesty, however delayed, is my only currency. Tonight, I lie in the dark and think of Elena. Wonder if she ever dreams of me, if she regrets choosing safety too, if she knows that telling Grant about her was the closest I've come to saying her name aloud in 16 years. I'm sorry, Grant, sorry for the affair, sorry for the lies. Sorry for telling you on our anniversary. But mostly, I'm sorry I couldn't be the woman you thought you married. The one who could love you without reservation, without comparison, without the shadow of a 4th grade teacher who showed me parts of myself I couldn't unknow. That woman might have made it to 50 years. This one barely made it to 25. The champagne went flat while I was talking. So did the life we built on bubbles and air and the spaces between what was true and what was acceptable. Maybe that's what I was really confessing tonight. Not just an old affair, but the flatness of everything since. The slow leak of authenticity that left us with beautiful glassware and nothing real to toast. Happy anniversary, Grant. I gave you the truth. 16 years late, wrapped in cruelty, delivered over duck confit you couldn't eat. It's the worst gift I've ever given. It's the only honest thing I've done since Elena left.